Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys a different type of video today. I'm sure maybe some of you know, most of you probably don't though. The NCP is coming back for Season 6, upcoming here soon, and I need to go over the tiers and adjust some things. We're basically using a basis of APA's tiers, which also used a basis of NCP. We kind of just intermix them. It really is the same league at the end of the day, but we're going to be reusing APA's tiers, and I want to tweak some things, make the tiers a little bit better, a little bit more coherent, a little bit more competitive, especially because we're adding some new things, which you'll see. But I'm not alone, so that all the power doesn't go just straight to me. I'm joined by fellow coach, Jesse504. You want to say hi?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Jesse504 here for some pretty juiced takes.
Yeah, we're going to have to rein J-Bear in. The plan was for J-Bear to, like, make sure I didn't put mons I think are terrible too low and mons I think are broken too high. But I feel like it's going to be the opposite with us talking before this. But it should be fun. Make sure you guys drop a like if you enjoy, as well as sub to the channel, pushing towards 1,000. I'd appreciate if you helped us along on that journey. And go check out J-Bear in the description below. He'll be the first link down there. But yeah, with that being said, let's do it. What we're going to do is we're going to go through 18 points, go through on the mons, say, do we think this should be moved up or down, and then we'll go from there and kind of adjust accordingly. Now, the first mons I'm sure you guys see that are listed right here are going to be Landorus, Incarnate, and Zamazenta Crown. Mons you typically don't see in a non-Ubers or S tier setting, but we actually do feel as if they are potentially allowable, and we want to test them out in this format and see if, they might be, potentially usable. We're going to move them up to 19, and this season we're actually going to have a 19-point scale with these and a few other mons. Do you want to talk? Well, Landorus, I'll talk about Landorus really quick. Landorus is really, really scary offensively, right? Especially in a limited format like Galactic, though it's not as limited as it used to be. This Pokemon really doesn't have great defensive counterplay between just like Life Orb, Sheer Force sets being fully special, mixed, even going physical. It has access to U-turn and knockoff, so it's a great disruptor, great momentum gainer. It can Rocks Up, it can Rock Polish, Calm Mind, Swords Dance, all those fun things. But I think one of the things that does balance Landorus that a lot of people don't realize is that like really mediocre, well, it's not mediocre, but like the exploitable 101 base speed tier, because Landorus really does have a big fall off in power, a lot like a Nidoking or a Nidoqueen if it's not running a Life Orb. So either it's Scarf and it's not having the same power as it typically would, or if it's like a Resist Berry for like a setup set, or it's Life Orb and it's actually pretty easily revengeable. It really is just a great wall breaker. So most Showdown leagues actually do allow Landorus at this point. I don't think I've played in a Showdown league in the last like 2 years that's banned Lando I. So I feel like it's allowable. Do you want to talk about Zama really quick while I move it up to 19? And why it's good but not broken per se?
Yeah. Zama's it's not broken, but it's good. It's obviously very strong. It has that 720 base stat total. It's kind of hard to be bad with a 720 base stat total. And you've got the speed. You got 128 speed, really good bulk, and that physical defense stat that gets a +1 from the ability. But it's kind of held back in the sense that it doesn't have a lot of the tools that like Zacian has. For example, Swords Dance is the main one, and the other thing is like that speed obviously being faster and the attack raise. It's just kind of weak, and it doesn't really like boost up that well because it can't run like a boosting item, and it also can't recovery outside of rest. It can't even get like passive leftovers recovery because it has to hold that rusted shield. So it's strong, but it's like relatively exploitable still.
Yeah, it's strong, but I think why people tend to like actually not succeed very well with Zamazenta is I feel like you actually have to draft very specifically around it, and I feel like it doesn't function well on offense. I feel like it functions really well on bulky offense, balance. I've drafted on like straight up like semi-stall before, and it's done phenomenally because while it is kind of lacking in that item and in that recovery, if you can have good Wish, good Heal Bell, you can Rest Talk it up and you can really just wear down your opponent for the course of the game. There's a lot of matches where you can just go Rest Talk stabs and never die. It might not 2-hit KO or OHKO everything, but it's going to be an absolute demon to deal with on top of, residual chip from, status or hazards from the rest of your team. But the biggest downside, I think, is, like you said, not being able to run an item. Now, we're also going to move up Pulp and Urshifu. In these tiers today. The reason being is I think there's actually an argument, and you can tell me if you disagree, J-Bear, For Polt, for sure, maybe even Urshifu, actually being as good, if not better, than a lot of these Pokemon that we just moved up, this Zamazenta and this Landorus. I know there are some people that don't think Polt is objectively the best Pokemon. I don't really know how. The versatility, the speed tier, Ghost being the best offensive typing in the game, and again, really just that speed tier and being able to drop Dracos and free spec Shadow Balls throughout the course of the game, being able to Willow Hex things down, being Boots and just U-turning for the entire game, never getting chipped, being a great revenge killer. It's kind of hard to say, like, Polt is worse than these, and honestly, in my position, I'm probably still taking Polt first overall.
Yeah, I think, like, the addition of Urshifu, or not Urshifu, Landorus and Zamazenta will definitely, like, sort of muddy that, make you, like, actually think about it. I feel like Polt's just been the de facto first pick for a while now, ever since people really realized how good it was. But I still think it definitely is justifiable as the best Mon still, even with Zama and Lando. But I think people might want to try Zama and Lando more, which could lead to Polt falling to, like, third.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Alright, so we'll move on to 18 now. I guess we've kind of been in 18. We just moved a couple Mons up to 19, but I'm pretty sure we're not moving anything else up to there. Those top four are just going to sit up there. Have a little bit steeper of a price point. How do we feel about Selly in 18, JBR?
I feel like Selly is good in 18. I feel like it is, like, on the bubble of that, like,
17 to
top
18
8
tier.
pick. Yeah. I think it's definitely, like, it's worth 18. Like, the biggest issue that people have with Selly is that it's a steel that doesn't resist ice and a steel that doesn't rock. But it's still so strong, super versatile, offensively, defensively. It does a lot of things that you really like in a high tier Mon. It just sort of doesn't fill the roles that you might want it to.
No, for sure. And I think, again, it forces you to draft very specifically. So often you'll see teams with Selly, and, like, you'll see teams with, like, a Selly Zygarde core to high tier ground and steel that, like, just cannot rock, which is really, really unfortunate. So again, I think you have to be very careful about how you draft with Selly, and you might need to grab, like, not necessarily this is the golden pair, but, like, the first one that comes to mind is, like, a Jardigon, like a non-steel rock or ground that can rock to kind of make up for that Selly that can't rock. So I think that's important, but I love Selly and Galactic, and I think it's actually really, really slept on by a lot of people, and people kind of undervalue it, if anything. I'm fine with it in 18. And personally, I don't even think we really need to talk about Garchomp, Mew, and Torn. I don't think there's ever a universe in which we move them down. I think they're actually better than Shelly in every way, shape, and form. I think Sally will be the worst Pokemon in 18 because I think we should move Zygarde down to 17.
Yes, I do think we should move Zygarde down to 17 really quick. I do want to say, I do think Torn has contention for the 19-point tier. I don't think people are ready to realize that yet, but I do think it is still a cut better than Garchomp and Mew.
Sure. For sure, yeah. No, I think Torn is the, like, de facto next best, and then depending on playstyle, it really depends on Mew or Chomp. For me personally, but I think both are really. I still don't think it's like. I think there's still a big distinction between Torn and those top four. Like, I don't think I'm ever taking Torn before any of those, so I'm comfortable leaving it in 18 personally.
I could see if it was a showdown league, I could see myself taking Torn over Lando. I've done it before.
As for Zygarde, though, great Mon, but it's just I love Zygarde to death, and I will definitely draft in 17 if, you know, that ends up being the pick for me, and, you know, the best thing that's left on the board when I get my pick. But I think what makes Zygarde a little bit less valuable this gen is, while it is better defensively, no HP Ice and things like that hurt her. I mean, you're never getting Oko by an HP Ice anyways, but no HP Ice in general is really nice for, like, fat Zygarde. But I think offensive Zygarde took such a big hit this gen. It is not very good offensively with, like, offensive DD sets anymore. I really don't care what people say. Wanting to bring, like, having to bring, like, Outrage or Scale Shot on, like, an offensive Zygarde just really, really sucks. Especially when you can't, like, just Z-move past things. That's what made offensive Zygarde so good in Gen 7, because you had that option alongside being fat, sub-toxic, protect, you know, shenanigans and things like that. So I think fat Zygarde is better, but offensive is so much worse that it's just overall a worse Pokemon this gen. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with all the stuff that you said.
Next up, we have AG. How do we feel about AG in 17?
I think AG is fine in 17. It's going to get drafted there, and it's super strong, super versatile, but suffers from sort of like that same problem that Celesteela has, where it can do all of this, but it is a steel type that does not have rocks.
Yeah. Let's actually kind of go through them quickly. Is there anything in 17 that you don't think should be there? I think that's the best way for us to go through this and not be here for 7 hours. Because we could talk about every one of these mons and be like, yeah, it's great here, you know? Excadrill, you think Drill. That's interesting because part of me wants to agree, right? Part of me wants to agree because we're talking about this in another league I'm drafting in, where unfortunate circumstances arose. Drill is great. It's a great Pokemon in general. Now, this isn't to say that you can't draft Drill without Sand. However, I think the value of Drill without Sand immensely falls. But I'm scared to lower it because I'm scared you're going to make T-Tar Drill's team. We're going to make T-Tar Drill teams much more easily accessible, which makes it infinitely better too, in my opinion, if you can viably draft T-Tar Drill and have a very good team around it. Realistically, it's 1 point, and I do feel like Extra Drill is a little bit overvalued outside of that Sand aspect. I'm really not the biggest on Mold Breaker Drill. I don't think it's bad at all. Again, it has its great matchups, and again, if you have a bad Sand matchup and Drill has a good matchup, doesn't mean you don't bring her because you're not bringing Sand. It's still very good with a Mold Breaker, but say Drill did not get Sand Rush. How many points would it be? 14? 13? Probably 13.
14, probably. Maybe 13. Still good.
Yeah,
with,
still good.
And...
Yeah, still a good spinner. And again, good rocker. The only issue is it has a very mediocre speed tier, and it's not very bulky as a steel type. So again, it's going to be used very, very offensively and very, very one note. I mean, I've seen AV drills and stuff like that check random electrics. I used a max SPDF AV drill to check a Dia one time. I could take 2 Earth Power or something like that, like Mega Dia. But yeah, I think I'm okay with moving it down to 16 personally.
Yeah.
I think it has its value as a standalone mod, but I could definitely see moving it down. Is there anything else you could see us moving down?
Potentially Melmetal. I think it's a bit iffy, but I feel like just 17 for this day and age for Melmetal is still kind of pricey.
I would agree. It's another mon. I think it's great. In my mind, you should be able to draft a 17-point Pokemon and it be your centerpiece of your draft. This is my best Pokemon. And I don't think I would ever draft a round 1 Melmetal. Ever.
Yeah.
You cut out a little bit. Did you just say yeah?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, unfortunately, those days have passed where Melmetal was the round 1 pick one.
Mm-hmm. Great mon, and actually, I think if anything, people kind of underrate Melmetal, and you actually see it go undrafted sometimes, or just go until the absolute end of the draft. I'll draft the hell out of a Melmetal round 2. I love that mon. I think it's great. I think AV Melmetal doesn't die. Bandit has its place. Toxic, Protect, Leftover sets are demonic to deal with. But yeah, I think it definitely is worth moving down at this point. I think that's it for 17, though. There's nothing I really want to complain about here in 17. Personally.
Yeah, 17 looks fine now.
Okay. Next up, we have 16. The Pokemon I want to mention Terrakion. I don't think Terrakion's that good.
I was going to say the same thing.
I think that... that might be personal bias getting in the way for me, too. But we have Gyarados in 15. I don't think there's a universe where I take Terrakion over Gyarados if both are available. Even Keldeo. I feel like if you're going for that speed tier even, I would rather have Keldeo because it has momentum. It might be a little bit less versatile, but it forces very specific switches, gets you momentum, and can pair really, really well with certain breakers. Not saying I would ever draft Spectre. If I was given the option between Spectre or Keldeo, or Spectre or Terrakion, I'm going Spectre or Keldeo. Because I can at least grab momentum and, keep up momentum, personally. So I think moving down Terrakion is worthwhile, at least for me. So we're gonna move it down to 15. Now, how do we feel? There's another one I want to mention. How do we feel about which? Oh my gosh, we're in 16, right? Corvi.
Yeah.
Do we think Corvi should stay? Part of me thinks Corvi should stay, but part of me thinks again. Well, while they all do different things. Now, again, I'm not just comparing, Steel type to Steel type. I feel like there's 3 Steel types in 15 that are, it's debatable for you to be able to draft them yourselves. Over Corvi. I don't know. Ferrothorn obviously sets up hazards and knowing it leeches. Heatran, same thing, but it can stall break, it can trap things, it can be Scarf, it can be offensive. It's much, much more versatile. And Scizor also U-turns and grabs momentum, but can be offensive. It can be defog just like Corvi, but it's a little bit more of an offensive option. Corvi isn't good unless it's clicking U-turn in my mind. And it's a great pivot, but do I value a pivot at 16 points? I don't know.
It just feels so overpriced. It just doesn't do what you want it to do.
And I feel like people overstate the defensive capabilities of it. I don't think it walls as many things as people think with proper team building. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, I do think it causes people to be a little bit more aggressive depending on like the Corvi draft. But again, I feel like it is potentially, you know, exploitable. As for the rest of 16, is there anything else you could see us moving down? Potentially Latias. Yeah, I was gonna say potentially Latias. And I'm almost tempted to drop it 2 points. No.
I think just 1 for now.
Yeah,
because it has reevaluate.
It has its upsides. Because I'm looking at some of the and actually I think so. I was looking at some of the dragons, and I was like, the dragons 15 are just better. But I think the only one that's objectively better is Kyurem.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring Kyurem up as a contender to move up a point.
Yeah, no, I get you. Okay, let's look at Latias and move it to 15. And if you guys see me looking off to the sides, because I have another copy of the doc, just like the page where we change the points on my other monitor. So I'm just looking at that. Okay, is there anything else we want to move out of 16? I feel like 16 is fine, other than this.
16 looks good.
Okay, 15. Let's see, is there anything we want to move down? The first thing I notice, and again, I'm just going down the list, isn't like the first most egregious mon. Do we think Gothitel's a little bit overvalued?
I still think Gothitel's really good. I just don't think people have been good at using it. I'm fine with it staying at 15 personally.
Yeah, I think people, when they use it and don't see success with it, they're like, this is the mon that needs to come in, trap the passive mon, and set up the +6 cosmic power, which there's like 1 or 2 matches where it can do that. But it really is just like the vacuum. I 1v1 this mon, so X Pokemon your team can do well. Or I force a shed shell. Excuse me. Or I force a shed shell, and then the rest of then that Pokemon's just worse. And also cannot be knocked off no matter what. So
yeah,
that's good. Heatran, Kartana, Keldeo, Kyurem. So you said Kyurem moving up.
Kyurem up, and I also wanted to suggest Heatran moving up a point.
You think Heatran should move up a point? It is leaps and bounds better than all of the steals in that tier. It's almost leaps and bounds better than every Pokemon in this tier, in my mind.
Yeah. I would draft Tran over Jirachi, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think in this gen, at this point, yeah, Heatran is more than... I think the reason I love Heatran so much is, like we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, is that versatility of just being fat, annoying, Magma Storm, Toxic, Protect, Taunt, like type stuff, or like, you know, Earth Power in one of those slots, or, you know, just being that great stall breaker, being able to just, like, be that Jesse 504 water resist and switch in on passive Scalds, and actually force out waters because they don't want to be trapped. Like, I think that's a really, really valuable thing with Heatran, is it's so fat and annoying. But then you have the matchup where you play, like, bulky water with no recovery and is low-key frail on the special side, and you bring Scarf. You just click Eruption the whole game. Or you bring Specs. Or, like, Mixed Life Orb. I love, like, getting Rillatran and, going like Nature Power, and just going like Flamethrower, Nature Power, Earth Power, 4th move, something like that. Just being a Life Orb and just breaking through things. So, I think that's fine. Or like a Life Orb Overheat from a Heatran just does not have a switch in, in the slightest. So I think that's fair. And then we moved up Kyurem as well. The rest of it though, I'm honestly fine with it.
I'm happy with this tier. Yeah, it looks good.
And something to mention too, which we haven't really mentioned yet, is there's going to be a lot more discussion early in the video, because I feel like high tier mons are a little bit more contentious as to where they're priced. When we get down to 6, 5, 4, it's going to go like that. There might be 1 or 2 mons for like, this is a little undervalued. This is a little bit overvalued, you know? And we'll move it, and they'll be like, all right, next. So it's not going to be like this every tier. I know it's been, 20 minutes, and we're only to 14 points. But I can promise you it's not going to take that long for the bottom half. Okay. Next up, we have 14, like I said. I'll do Blacephalon. Is there anything that you see that is maybe a little bit overvalued? I almost want to move down Bulu.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's like a couple mons that I could see moving down. I'll just like go ahead and list them. Bulu, I think, can move down. Yeah, Starmie is just hard to fit on the draft.
Oh, see, I disagree. I like Starmie. I think people like kind of overstate it being a bad bulky water. I think it definitely can be if it's EV'd correctly. Now, there are certain matchups, like I when I had an ICP, which I loved an ICP, so maybe that's just me loving Starmie. When I had an ICP, I played a Darm one week against JB. It was one of the games I lost that season. I had like 2 or 3 losses in the regular season, and one of them was versus the Darm team, because I just like died a U-turn, you know? So that can be kind of tough depending on what like an offensive fire is, but you're also not going to see a million offensive fires. So I don't know if it's that big of a deal. And I think you can draft accordingly around it. I think you just need to get like a good rock or something like that. Like if you get Starmie and they get like a low tier Reggie rock later or something like that, you like patch that weakness immediately. So I think it's fine. I don't know. I like Starmie a lot. I think it's at least in that middle ground where we should. kind of keep it there.
Yes. And then I was gonna say Conk.
Conk. Ooh. I guess if you look at 13, we have Buzzwole there. Can we really justify Conk being a whole point higher?
I was gonna say I would rather draft Mienshao than fucking Conk Elder.
You don't like Conk?
No, I
Oh,
think
dude.
it's just like
I think
so
Conk.
hard to get in, and
I think
like,
Conk only
pressure stuff
functions.
with.
I think Conk only functions on like momentum-based offense. And I think it's really good on those teams if you can get that for U-turn volts with into Conk, because not much is OHKOing it. It's just getting it in for free, because a lot can 2 KO it, but not much is gonna OHKO it. So you can kind of come in and at least guarantee one if you position it properly. I will say though, I think Buzzwole is overall better. But I think we're actually we might even talk about moving that up though. So
I could see that. Yeah.
I feel like if we move down, I feel like I'd be more likely to move down Lucha than I would Conk. I'm actually kind of set on. I like Conk in 14 a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think Conk on a team that can position it well is a demon. Lucha, I'm not a big fan of. I'll be honest. I don't think it's a very good mon. At least the way that people
it's just so weak.
It's very weak, and if you're going for that unburdened setup sweep type of game mode, you're playing 5v6 the whole game. And again, I feel like it was a lot better early Gen 7 when people weren't as privy to like what it was going to be doing, you know. Whereas now, I don't know. I'm not the biggest on Lucha. I don't know. Again, it feels like, and again, I think it has more use than just being, you know, unburdened sweeper, but that's just not how people are typically using it. So I'd be willing to move it down a little bit. Maybe see if someone drafts Lucha on their own and they bring like bandit sets or they bring power up sets, things like that, and use it more in that mid game, in that early game, even like on banded U-turn sets or even bulky defog sets. I've seen people do it to like use it to check Urshifu, which is really funny. Not the best one in the world, but it'll take the hit and be faster than non-scarf variant. So I feel like that's fine. Okay. Is there anything else in 14 we want to move down? I feel like I'm fine with everything here.
I think 14 looks fine now, yeah.
Okay. On to 13. I want to move up Buzzwole, personally. Because while I didn't want to move down Conk, I do think that Buzzwole is better. At least in my mind. Yeah. I think offensively, it's great. They're saying getting CC was so clutch for like offensive sets. Because Superpower is not a spammable move, obviously. But it getting CC this gen made offensive like Scarf or Band sets so much better. And then, you know, like obviously bulky fat roost sets with, you know, a helmet or, you know, just bulk up sets in general are great. Elemental punches, great stab combination. A bug that's not weak to rock, so it's not going to have to run boots if it wants to stay around long term. I think it's a really, or even just like Life Orb Buzzwole sets too, are just demonic. And again, a lot like Conk, not much is going to OHKO it, even on that special side if you're EVing correctly, I think. So I like Buzzwole a lot, personally.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than that, though, is there anything else we want to move?
And obviously the other elephant in the
G-King. I did not see G-King. Alright, I'm not willing to put it up to 17 points yet, like PWS, but how do we feel about 15? Jaber? I think you might have died.
Yeah.
You said 15?
I was...
You're cut... Jaber, you're cutting out. Leave and join back. Alright. I'm gonna have to kick him, gang. Hold on. Where is he? Let's, where is he? Disconnect. Okay, I'm gonna tell him to join back. Again, sorry, technical difficulties. His internet's like bad, so he's actually on his phone. I need flag. There you go. Alright, Jesse. Are you better now?
Okay, there we go.
Okay, perfect. Alright, you got, that wasn't you DCing, that was me kicking you. Okay, I was just about to at you and say join back. But yeah, I think G-King in 15 is fine. We obviously had it very, very underpriced. I'm still not convinced it's like a top 10 mod in the format, like some people might tell you it is. But I think obviously we do gotta kind of respect and at least put in like that 15 point tier. At least for me. It's definitely better than a lot of mods in this tier. Like justifiably, like very much so better. So I think that's fine. Is there anything else in 13 that we want to move up or move down?
Move that Grimmsnarl down, please.
Oh, Jesus. Can we move it down to 11?
Yeah, I was gonna say 11 or even 10.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this Pokemon. I don't like having. You explain Grimmsnarl, because I'm just gonna shit on it for like 10 minutes. I think it's terrible. We're moving
It
down to 10.
is a fairy that just doesn't play like a fairy, and oftentimes, and it's kind of also like a dark that doesn't really play like a dark. They just like the two typings are both solid. They just don't synergize very well.
I think
And
it's
then, like-
I think it's okay as a dark. I think it's a terrible fairy.
Yeah,
And if you're
It's
drafting it
like-
as your dark type,
especially
you're either getting double fairy or you're a terrible or you have a terrible fairy that's pulled in different directions because it's the ghost resist and it's the fairy that's not actually checking dragons but trying to check dragons. And then you're not going to be able to use the prankster shenanigans that you want because you're relying on Grimmsnarl defensively to patch this massive hole in your team because you have a dark and fairy type. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's how I see it. I hate it.
yeah.
It's a good screener
Ick.
and it's a good dark type. It's a terrible fairy though. And I'll die on that hill. That one's not good.
Yeah.
How about Arcanine too? I feel like Arcanine's super overpriced. I'm not a big Arcanine.
Yeah,
guy.
Arcanine is just so overpriced.
Moltres is like 10 times better in my
I've like
mind.
considered. Yeah. I've always just like been like, yeah, I want to draft Arcanine, and then I look and it's 13 points, and I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, I feel like. Would you say we move it down to 11? I feel like you can justify drafting Incineroar over Arcanine as a bulky fire that, you know, has Intim. Like, I think Arcanine, obviously better base stats. It might be stronger, I don't know. Has good coverage, but Incineroar spreads knockoffs and has better momentum. Like, Arcanine has momentum, but Incin has much better momentum, in my mind. So I think it's a better pivot overall. So I'm gonna move it down to 11. I also think Moltres is just objectively better than it. I'm a big Moltres stan though. I love Moltres. But that also means we're gonna be moving down Blaziken because he's also a little price.
Yes.
Anything else in 13? Do we want to move down Haxorus? There's a lot of things overpriced in this tier.
Yes, Haxorus is another mon that I'm like, ooh, this seems so based. I want to draft it, and then it's too expensive.
Do we think 11 is fine, or do we want to move down to 12? I feel like 12 is fine. Hard
12
sweeper,
is fine.
Hard
It's better
sweeper
than
to shoehorn
Gudra.
on a team, something like a Gyarados or something like that.
Yeah, better than Gudra, better than Noivern in 11.
Okay, just more offensive potential. Anything else in 13 that we want to move down? I feel like most of it's fine now.
Yeah, it looks good now.
On to 12. Do we think Bear Scooter should move down? Because it's just not a drafted rain sweeper.
It's so strong if you get it in the rain, though. It's like what worries me.
It is, but when was the last time you saw Bear Scooter draft on rain? I feel like it's hard to fit on rain. It's just not as good of a rain sweeper, especially with Kingdra sitting right here, who's not going to be drafted. Because when you draft rain, you can't just draft rain and then draft all of the good sweepers for it. You have to pick and choose, and typically you're gonna get Kingdra and then like maybe that low. And this is if you're drafting hard rain, which I don't even think is a good idea. If you're drafting like hard rain, you're gonna get your rain setter, you're gonna get Kingdra, and then you're gonna get some kind of like more low tier option. Probably like a Kabutops. Yeah, which is going to still hit ridiculously hard in the rain. It's not as fast and it doesn't get momentum, but it hits ridiculously hard in the rain, and it has priority just like Barraskewda. So I personally, if I'm drafting hard rain, I'm not drafting Barraskewda most of the time.
Yeah.
Unless something big, unless Kingdra just goes to a random guy. You know, I get C-teamed again. But someone sees me draft Pelipper and they're like, nah, I want Kingdra, Barraskewda for my next wheel. But yeah, I personally feel like we can maybe move it down to 11.
Yes.
Because, like, I think you could even make a case for drafting it over Crawdon or just drafting Crawdon, too. Like, I feel like they both have their upsides outside of, like, a rain. But I would personally draft Crawdon. You know, maybe before I draft that, depending on my speed tiers. If I needed speed tier, like the speed tier, too, then maybe I'd draft it. And I've seen people draft Barraskewda on non-rain. It's just hard to fit. As for Blaziken, I think we should move down Blaziken to 11.
Yeah, I think 11 is good for Blaziken.
I think a
Darn's
lot
a
of the
better
fires,
fire.
Yeah, I think we...
Mienshau's a better fighting.
Yeah, there's better Pokemon in this tier, and I think it's comparable to a lot of the fires we have in 11. But 11's the fire type tier, apparently, but I feel like it's comparable to a lot of those. The rest of the tier, the only other thing I can see is moving down is Venusaur.
Yeah, Venu, and I feel like Tox is maybe. It's like it can move down, but it doesn't need to.
I think it's leaps and bounds better than the electrics we have everywhere else, but we're actually going to have to move down this guy. But I feel like, maybe if we, because I personally want to move down Zygarde as much as I love him. I want to move him down. So maybe we move Tox down to 11 and we move Zygarde down when we get there. Because I feel like Rotom is actually better than Tox, like objectively as an electric. So let's go Tox. And where do you want to move Venusaur?
I feel like because like Venu is obviously incredible on Sun, but Sun
is
just
such
as a
hard
whole
archetype to
is so
draft.
hard to fit, and it's not like you gain anything. It's usually just like a 2-mon core.
Do we think 10? I really almost think 10. Personally,
I think 10 is okay for it. Yeah.
Personally, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I can't wait for people to yell at me in the comments. Okay. Next, we have 11.
11.
We have Among Us. Let's see, is there anything I really want to move up or down? I know I want to move Zygarde down. I'm going to move Zygarde down.
I want to see Crawdon drafted.
You want that 9-point Crawdon?
Maybe not 9 point, maybe 8 point. No, I'm kidding. I think it's fine in maybe 10.
I feel like it's fine in the area it's in.
Yeah.
Loki. I mean, if we have Grimmsnarl as a dark type in 10, we're not putting what do you call it, Crawdon down there. They're both not bulky.
Yeah.
And Crawdon's just better. I don't know. I think the only other one is I would actually say potentially moving Gmolt up to 12. I think Gmolt's 12.
I don't.
You don't think it's better than Bisharp in 12?
Oh, I don't think Bisharp should be 12. I think I missed that.
Should we move down Bisharp then? Because I think it's objectively better than Bisharp. So if we're moving down, if we're not moving it up, I think we should move this down. How do we feel about moving Moltres up? Because I also feel like Moltres is better than every other fire in this tier.
Yeah. Moltres, I feel like...
And I feel like it's better than Volk, too.
Yeah.
So I feel like moving it up is worth. Maybe it's just me being a big old Moltres stan. I think that one's amazing if you use it well. Offensively and defensively, it's a demon. We're at 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we think is worth changing here? I'm not huge on anything, really. Maybe Giwis. Giwis should probably
Giwis is such a trap mon.
Yeah, not very good. And on paper, it does not look... it just doesn't look terrible. It's bulky. It has Fairy, Poison, Fire coverage, which is decent, but it's still so passive. It can't keep itself healthy. It doesn't check the things it needs to. It just has such mediocre bulk. Like, when you actually put it into practice, I'm not a big fan of it. I've drafted a lot, too, but I'm just not a big fan. Okay. Big fan. Is there anything else? I feel like everything else is fine.
Everything else looks fine. Maybe moving Agent Leon down 1.
Let's look at the other waters in 10. Alright.
I think it's worse than Barraskewda and worse than Crawdont as an offensive water.
That's fair. Look at this. NCP, this value draft of the century. You're all gonna get to use the cool mons that you never got to use.
This is why I'm here.
Because Jaber's convincing me to move everything down. Because I already see Pokemon I want to move down in 10. So let's go ahead and go on to that. The Pokemon that immediately popped in my mind was, first off, going to be where I already lost it. Damn it, Hatterene.
Glastrier. Oh.
Oh shit, there's a Glastrier.
Yeah.
Stem one Glastrier, baby. Alright, I'm gonna move down Hatterene 1. Before we talk about that, I think it's a really bad fairy. And again, it's really hard to justify drafting and then getting a fairy on top of it. So I think if you're going to punish yourself and draft a really bad fairy, you can get a good, like, Trick Room setter, I suppose. But Trick Room's not that good, in my opinion, unless you're setting it for yourself. And Hat is a Pokemon that can set Trick Room for itself and break. Like, it's also 10 times worse than Guard, and Guard's in that tier, so. Before we do Glastrier, what do you think about Espeon?
7.
Yeah, that one's really bad, and I don't know why we have it that high. I would say 8. I don't know. I feel like it's still better than the things in 7. I actually think it's... Would we say it's better than Xatu, though? I don't think it's better than Xatu.
I don't think it's better than Xatu. Yeah.
I think we're moving down. Some of these things, what I think happened with APA is we, like, rushed the tiers out and didn't look at a lot of this mid-tier stuff that we had from, like, the old NCP seasons. And, like, there's just ones like that, like a random 10-point Espeon, random 10-point Glastrier, who, what do we think? We think moving it down to 7 as well? Because, like, there's good offensive ices in 7 as well.
Yes, I want to see Glastrier drafted. It doesn't die to 1, like, from anything. but it's so
I know
hard to
Trexel
position.
loves this one because he used it like early on. He used it NCP when he took over a team one time, and he's like the biggest Glastrier stan. If I'm remembering right, I might be wrong. So Trexel might want to rip my head off in the comments, but this
I
mod sucks.
love Glastrier. I
It's such a
drafted
cool
Calyrex
mod.
Ice Glastrier in VGC, and
Okay,
then
well,
I
it's
smashed
really good in
people.
VGC. If this was a VGC tier list, you could make fun of us even more.
Yeah, no.
For having
But
for the opposite.
I just like. Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Anything else in 10 though? I'm looking right now. Guard, Grimmsnarl, and DD looks fine. Magnezone, probably fine. Marowak. Do you think Mudsdale should be that high? Oh, Jaber's dying. I'm gonna kick him. That's gonna be... Oh, I almost kicked him from the server. Oh, jeez. Disconnect. Let's see, we wait for him to come back. So what I was saying while we wait for Jaybear, is I was saying that Loki, I feel like we can move down Mudsdale. So, Jay, what I was saying before you exploded, is that we can potentially move down Mudsdale. I feel like Rhyperior is justifiably better. Or like,
yeah, they're
more versatile.
At the very least.
I think it's more versatile. I think as a physical wall, maybe I just typed in Rhyperior instead of Mudsdale. The physical wall, maybe Muds is better. But I think like overall, I would prefer Rhyperior. Maybe again, that's a personal thing. I love it in a gem with no hidden power though. I love Rhyperior. I think it's so freaking good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rhyperior seems cool.
Okay, where were we in? We were in 10. Is there anything else we want to move down?
10. I mean, like, there's mons that I personally hate, but I understand why they're in 10.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the point we're kind of getting at. Is there's a bunch of Pokemon that we probably wouldn't draft in these lower tiers, just due to like drafting tendencies and things like that. But I don't know if there's many that we can like justify moving down super low. So
yeah,
I feel like we're fine with this tier.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't mess up recording. Okay, on to 9. A Selgor. Articuno needs to go down, man.
Yeah, we can move.
Articuno needs to move down to what, man? Like 6? It's a certified worse Xatu.
Yeah.
It's like a certified 10 times worse Xatu.
Yeah. 6 is fine for it.
Again, maybe we made these tiers after the new mons got announced, but that one's like certified, like terrible. And again, maybe he'll get drafted.
Yeah, I feel like we've been on the same tiers since like yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else in 9 though? Because I actually Lycanroc maybe? Lycanroc can probably go down. Here. You die on me? Hello? Something happened. Can't hear him, but I see his bubble moving.
I'm here.
Okay, I hear you now.
Can you hear?
There you go. Bye, Jaybear. Okay, so what I was saying is Lycanroc. And if we need to... Okay, he's back already. They did something to your Wi-Fi, Jaybear. It's not cool, though. Is he back now? Just see? Okay. What I'm going to say, though, is I'm going to say Lycanroc can probably move down, personally. I don't think it's very valued as a Sand Super. I think maybe we can move it down to 8. Just because it has that solid speed tier and it still has that priority in the Cell Rock. It's just not as strong as Lycan Dusk, obviously, and it's just not as prevalent in a metagame like us. So I'd be fine with moving it down a point. As for everything else, though, I'm pretty happy with the 9-point tier. We can move on to 8. And is there anything we want to move down? 8. Are you back now? Jesse?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. The only thing I did when you were gone is I moved down Lycanroc to 8. Like Lycanroc midday.
Or Beetle. Move that down.
True. That one's not very good either. Oh, jeez. Some of these tiers, man. Orbeal, what do you think? Down to like 7?
Yeah, probably. And then I don't know if I can justify drafting 9-point Doublade.
Oh, really? I would say 8 if anything. I think if you we need to move down Agent Raj. That mon's definitely overpriced. Okay. I
Better
think
than Doublade.
there's a lot of mons we just need to move down in general. I think in these next couple like Duraludon.
Yes.
So we have
Mm-hmm.
Caparaja. What do you think Caparaja? Do we think 7 still? I feel like 7 is fine.
7 is fine for Caparaja, yeah.
7. Then we're gonna move down Doublade. I think to 8. I think it's better than what do you call it? Caparaja.
Yeah.
Things like that.
8.
8. And then is there anything else before we go? So we need to move down from 9.
Oh wait, from 9.
Yeah, we're going to 8, which will be.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah. Alcremie.
Okay. I think they're fine then.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to 8, we'll do Alcremie. What do you think? Do we think 7 or do we think 6?
Where his... I'm just trying to think of like the fairy options at this level.
That's what I mean. So like, I don't know how much we can move it down if there are no lower fairy options.
I think it's worse. I think it's definitely 7. It's definitely worse than Aromatisse.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying like more than 7.
I think it is better than Galarian Rapidash, which we will be finding in 6 points.
That's true. Okay. 8, Appleton? Jesus. I'm gonna move Apple down to like... What do we even move Apple down to? Do you think to 5?
2, 3.
You think down to 2 or 3? I don't think it's that bad. I actually think it has good defensive utility. Especially when you have Eldegoss in 3 points. No shot you can tell me it's worse than, or on par with Eldegoss.
I think it's worse than Roselia and it's worse than Leafeon in there in 3.
I don't think it's worse than Leafeon. I think if anything we move up Roselia.
Okay. 4.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to settle on 4.
Okay. Because
you just really cut them on.
Alolan Eggy is just better than it, and Alolan Eggy's in 4.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I do not agree with that. I don't think Alolan Eggy has half the defensive utility, and it's just not good offensively. I don't care what anybody says. Just Monstron's not good.
Yeah, no. We had an Alolan Eggy in TDT, and it went crazy.
Okay, it doesn't mean it's good. You could do good with bad Pokemon. That's how Pokemon works. Where are we again? Are we in 7? Is that where we were? No,
we are in 8.
Jesus. Okay. We're gonna move down to Duraludon. I think honestly to 6. I feel like that one's terrible.
Yeah, no, Duraludon is super bad.
As a steal, like I just couldn't ever justify drafting it as my bulky steal. We have Duraludon. We're an 8, right? Jesus.
Yes.
Is there anything else we want to move? We have like Miltank, Pangoro, Persian.
Raichu is just not worth 8 points. I know we have it here.
I think we were thinking about 6.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 is fine. I feel like justifying it over like regular Rotom isn't that bad.
Yeah, no.
We probably move both of them down, right? Or maybe you do Raichu Alola in 7.
I think Alolan Raichu in 7, regular Raichu in 8.
Yeah, because it is
But
objectively
the real reason why the Raichus are here is because you insisted that they had to be higher than Regieleki.
Yeah, and I'm making the judgment myself this time, so that's just gonna be hella low. Okay. Okay. Next up, anything else? Maybe Regidrago. I'm on his dog.
Regidrago can drop, yeah, I think a point. 7 is probably fine for it. It's still like it. I would say it forces prep, but it means that they have to bring their good fairy type.
While I'm here, since we're moving on to the next tier, because that's the last one I can really think of personally. I think the rest is fine.
Yeah.
While we're here, Regieleki is right next to it, and I want to move it down to 5.
5?
5. It's 7.
Yeah, 5 is
point
fine.
Underneath Raichu.
5 is fine.
Yeah, I don't want to move it down 5 points to 2. I think I want to put it at 5 points. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's
now the rest is 7. We have more Pico here, for some reason. More Pico.
Yeah, that can be 4.
Yeah.
It's worse than Regieleki. Oh god, R7 for that. Like, fuck, this is so bad.
This one, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that moves down. I like Centiskorch. Let's just go down one by one. I like Centiskorch.
Yes.
I like Zard. We move Kavaraja down. Dreadnought, I actually don't think it's that bad in 7. I think as long as we have Kabutops in the same tier. right? Do we?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have Kabutops lower? Where's Kabu? Oh no, it's the point above. So actually, I think
8.
that's fair. I think that's fine then.
Yeah, that's good.
Jordagon, Espeon will move down. Gallade, Glacier, Gliscopod, Gourgeist, Girder. What do you call him? Machamp. I think Machamp. No, because I feel like it's better than Hitmonchan, the one fighting below it. Hitmonchan and Sawk, objectively better than. I think Machamp's actually really good, just people don't draft it. Magneton, Mantine, Ninetales, Orbeetle, Passimian, Pincurchin, Quagsire, Quillfish, Raichu. I know we have a lot of Pokemon in this tier, but after those first couple that we moved, I really don't feel like anything's out of place.
Slowpro Galar should probably go up 2 points.
Up, yeah. No, it should be up. No, I didn't even see that. Slowbro. Another one I've been putting away from when T-Row smashed through me a little bit with it. Okay, I'm gonna move it up to 9. Great offensively, solid defensively. Annoying Mon. Regen's broken. So, that's fair.
Yes.
Other than that, I feel like it's fine. I know it's a big tier, but I just feel like that's where they're supposed to be valued.
Pincurchin.
Oh yeah, there's a You're cutting out again,
Yes, I don't think it's draftable.
What
I
did you
just
say?
said Pincurchin is not. Just Pincurchin is not draftable.
Do we want to move down to 4? That's where Stunfisk is.
4
we can
is
move
probably
Stunfisk up
fine
one.
with it.
Yeah, it's where
Yes.
Morpeko is. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say Stunfisk should go up 1 when we got to it.
4. Okay. Anything else?
This is on 7. It looks fine at this point.
Okay. 6. Archeops, both Articunos, Arctovish, Avalugg, Cinccino, Colossal, Corsola. I feel like we might even be able to move down Corsola. And Cursula. Cursula's terrible.
Cursula for sure.
Cursula should go down to like fucking 3, dude.
Yeah.
2, like,
Dude,
on its own, it actually wouldn't be that bad, but both of its abilities are so bad for it that you just can't use it. You can't use the Pokemon. It's so frustrating.
Yeah,
whether it be Perish Body, which is a terrible ability, or whether it be Weak Armor. Like, it's just bad. I don't know. I'm like a base 20 speed Mon. Not good. How about Corsola? Do we want to move it down, or do we value it on, like, stall builds too much? Because it is, like, okay on specific stall build. Corsola.
It's fine in 6. It's annoying, but, like, it's not.
It's knockbait, but, like,
good. It's
knockbait, but it's really annoying in the right hand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Do we think maybe Hitmonchan down 1 as well? Or do we think it's fine?
It's just so bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. I think it's worse.
Kind of like it's the best fighting left, so I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is it that much worse than Sawk? If it is worse, it's like very incrementally, like not a lot.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Rapidash in this tier, though?
I don't think it's good. I would rather have a Musharna. I would rather have a Claydol.
Yeah. It just doesn't offer much utility. It's just not very good. We're gonna move down Rapidash. Do you think to 5? Because it's better than, like, what Psychics do we have? I was looking at 3 and I was like, it's better than Psychics in 3, but it's better than. Oh no, Eggy isn't a Psychic. Is there any Psychics in 4?
In 4, there is Swoobat.
Honestly, I feel like we should move it down to 4. Okay, Mr. Rhyme sucks. I might move him down.
Yeah.
But I think I would rather have Swoobat on, like, a specific, like, you know, terrain I'm using deep, as opposed to Rapidash.
Yeah.
Rapidash just isn't good. Anything else? In 6?
In 6. 6 looks alright. I mean, like, Avalugg is probably fine to move down a point.
Avalug's in 6, I mean. It's worse than the other ices in the tier. Poor Hisui and Avalugg. I wonder how bad that mon's gonna be. Okay. Now let's move on to 5. We have Odd, Barbarical, Blitzer, Claydol, Cryo.
5 actually looks like pretty fine in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Mr. Mime Galar, Regice, Bisharna, Aleki.
Oh, Mr. Mime Galar down to 2.
You think it's that bad? I feel like it has a usable speed tier, and it spins.
It's not 5 points.
You think it's worse than Beartic?
Yes.
What? I'll put it in 3. It is not that bad. Sure.
Okay, fine.
I'll put it in 3. It is not worse than Beartic. That is an unusable Pokemon. It's worse than like Aurora.
What's it got for a well-played Beartic?
A lot. A Steel type. A bulky water. A lot, actually. I have so much for a well-typed Beartic. That's the reason it's in 3 points. Yeah. Oh, wait, we gotta move down Frostmoth. That's another 3.1. Do we think it's worth 3 points? Like, do we think we should move it down to 3?
What?
Frostmoth?
You cut out for me.
Do you think Frostmoth?
Oh, yeah, totally.
3 points?
Totally, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else in 5?
Looks good.
Fine. Okay. Go down to 4. Anything we want to move in 4? I feel like
I think Stunfisk up a point.
Oh yeah, well we'll move Stunfisk up 1. For sure. That up to 5. Such a good anti-Metamon. I love Stunfisk. Okay.
Yes.
Then I feel like we should move Ram down to like 2.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. I think originally it was in 4 because John put Mantine in 3 and he refused to have it above it. I think we moved down double for sure. And I want to move up Bouffalant, which is another thing. That's in the next point. 3-point Bouffalant's fucking insane. And we also have like the 2-point Clefairy. So like we're gonna have some things to move up here in a minute. But
2-point Clefairy, 3-point Roselia. Those are like my big ones.
Double down to 3 probably. Because I think it can actually cheese some matchups. Like, I really think it can cheat. And we saw Amel pull up with, like, 9 kills with it in 3 weeks. All of us aren't Amel. And nobody's going to draft it besides Amel. But, let's make him spend a little bit at least. Anything else in this tier that we think should be dropped? Probably Phalanx, right? Another terrible Pokemon.
Bro, I see Phalanx like a Volcarona.
Say that again?
I see Phalanx like a Volcarona.
Okay, I'm moving it down. That was a terrible take. I'm moving it down. Don't say I see it like a Volcarona.
Do you not know what it's in reference to?
No.
Oh, that's a +1's draft analysis.
Oh my god, did he really say that?
Yeah, it's in the Robert Panda quotes.
I need to go through that chat again. It's a funny chat. Yeah, we're moving it down.
Is.
Okay, I want to move Shiftry down too. Shiftry's terrible. I think 3's fine, because I actually think it has value on Sun if you draft Sun. Like, it's like a weird last, like, budget thing. But, like, I'm not going to put it in the same point as same tier as Tangela. I refuse.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you think Tangela is worth 1 more? 5.
Yes.
I feel like just Regen Herder, it should have a little bit more value.
Regen, it's better than all the grasses in 4.
And anything else? Flaky is probably fine. Rapidash. I think Regigigas is fine. I think that one's so annoying. Trevenant can also cheese matchups. The Dusk Twins. Probably move Luxray down. That one's... Is Luxray in the Dex?
What?
Is Luxray in?
Yes, it is.
Galadex?
Yeah, it was in Crown Tundra. It was in
wow,
Crown
it
Tundra.
is. Okay, yeah. I think we should move it down. That one's terrible too. I think all of the electrics in the tier are better than Luxray.
Yes.
I think moving down to 3 is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else that you see in 4 before we move on forever? Because we're getting to this home stretch, because I'm not touching 1 point. Not touching 1 point. All the ones that are there. Those are like random. And the reason like not everything you're showing is because those are just random ones people have drafted and we have to add to the doc. like, you know, they're not like... 1 point is basically everything that we don't have listed. That's not banned. Alright, down to 3 points. There's a lot of Pokemon here. There's a couple I want to move up, I remember. I want to move Bouffalant up, right? Where is it? Bouffalant. I think low-key Bouffalant is worth like 5 points. I think Boof is so good.
No, I think Regigigas is better.
You think Reggie's better? Oh, I love AV Boof. I think it's a great ghost check, especially with Bulletproof. I think Swords Dance is so good too. We'll move it up to 4 though, but I definitely think it's more valuable than what we have it at. I love Bouffalant as a low tier budget normal. If you have good wish into it, like if you have a good wish passing fairy, great mon.
Yeah.
Anything else in 3? There was something else I wanted to move up, but I don't remember.
Roselia.
Roselia. Yeah, Roselia definitely goes up to... do we want to put it in 4 or 5? 4 is probably
4. I think it's worse than
drafting
Tangela.
if you're drafting as your grass, you have ground resist. Can we move Eldegoss down? Because that one sucks. I want to move it to 2.
Yeah.
It's actually the proof
okay.
it's the proof that regen doesn't make any mon good, because this one's terrible and it has the best ability in the game. Bad mon. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else in 3 that we want to move up or down?
No, I don't think so.
I like mons like Puking Rapidash. I think Rapidash is a little bit better than we're giving it credit for. I actually think Rapidash is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Rapidash to 4 is actually fair, personally.
Yeah, it's just like these solo mons.
I think it's great.
Really
I think it's
matter.
great speed tier, and it's like really solid offensively in some matchups. I've seen it rip through people with like flame charge sets, or just like life orb sets, charcoal sets. Having wild charge, play off high horsepower, like it's good coverage and it's a great speed tier. I would low-key consider it over Mag Mortar, but I think Mag's like objectively better.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as for 2 points, let's look. Artalia, Almarlo. Oh, we need to move Clefairy up to like 4 or 5.
4.
Yeah. Clef.
4.
4 points. No more 2-point Clefairy. Sorry, Shuckle King. Oh, Shuckle's not even playing this season, so we move it up when he doesn't play. Let's see. Anything else in 2 that we want to move down to 1 point? Get in Cubfu. Move down Cubfu to 1 point. Cub. I don't think he's worth any more than 1. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
R.I.P. a legend.
I do love the 2-point Cubfu. And he's hella cute. We have Kadabra, Licky Licky, or Licky Tongue. We have 2-point Licky Licky. Marini, Marsh Tomp. Really, guys? Marsh Tomp's going down to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making an executive decision on that one. Okay. Mawile, Meowstic, Matang. Matang's going down to 1. Even if it did beat Jason Diet Tight in playoffs. If he didn't crit it. It has to go down. Do we think Marini's 1? Yeah, Marini.
Yeah.
1. Munchlax I actually feel like is fine at 2. Morgram is going down to 1.
Artillery.
No,
Artillery's fine. It has...
That one's better than 1 point.
Yeah.
Anything else? You want to move down Thievul to 1? Thievul's really fine, actually.
It's fine. Yeah.
I think 2-point Wigglytuff is a steal. I actually want to move that up. I don't think Wiggly's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. It's better than Shiinotic.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's better than Shiinotic. It's better than Mawile. Mr. Mom.
I would actually rather have it than Rapidash. Like, I almost want to move... That's not worth 4, though. That's just
it's not worth 4.
Rapidash isn't going to be a fairy anyway. It's not how you draft it. Like, it's not like I'm getting my fairy-type Rapidash. Okay, and I think 1 is fine. I don't think there's anything we'd be willing to move up from there.
Marowak is probably a little too cheap in 1.
You think Marowak up? That's fine.
It's so strong.
It is strong if you can position it. It's just having one that's that strong and being knock flutter is tough. But I guess you could see the same thing with Alolan Marowak, and we didn't move that down.
Yeah.
We'll keep Porcelain 1 point for Amel. We'll keep all these mons at 1 point for Amel. You can make a whole team out of this. But yeah, that's gonna be everything. Now, keep in mind, tiers are subjective. So if you disagree, let me know respectfully in the comments. I'm completely fine with that. But those are gonna be the tiers we rock out with for NCP Season 6. I think we actually got through it in less than an hour. Didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, 58 minutes. Oh, we're stopping for an hour because people won't watch if it's beyond an hour. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really do appreciate it. Again, hit that like button, subscribe so we can hit the 1,000. Check out Jayber in the description below. Jayber, you have like 30 seconds to give any final thoughts. Any final thoughts?
I'm the best at tiering. Owen did a good job keeping me in check. I would have went crazy.
Yeah, these tiers would have been out of fucking whack if I just let Jayber run wild. We would have like 15-point Mew because he feels like people don't draft it high enough or some shit. Alright guys.
There'd be nothing in 12, 11, 10, or 9.
Everything would move down because none of these ones get drafted. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Later.